Recording started.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the most merciful, and the most just, who are hungry and thirsty, Allah's truth, Allah's righteousness, in both natural and spiritual realms. We have a special, I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. We have a special guest this evening, and his name is Dr. Ivory Tolson. And he's the Director of Education, Innovation, and Research at the NAACP. Dr. Ivory Tolson was dubbed a leader who could navigate the path to the White House, the Washington Post, one of 30 leaders in the fight for black men by Newsweek magazine, and the problem solver by diverse issues in higher education. The president and CEO of Network, professor of counseling psychology at Howard University, and editor-in-chief of the Journal of Negro Education. He was appointed by President Barack Obama to devise national strategies to maintain and expand federal support to historically black colleges and universities, as they call them HBCU, CUs. As the executive director of the White House Initiative and on historically black colleges and universities, throughout his career, Dr. Tolson also research analyst for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, CF, and contributing education editor for The Root, where he debunked some of the most pervasive myths about African Americans in his show, Me, the Numbers column. A sought-after speaker, Dr. Tolson has been featured on MSNBC, C-SPAN 2, Books, NPR News, President of the United States on XM satellite, POTUS on XM satellite radio, and numerous national and local radio stations. In print, his research has been featured in the Washington Post, CNN.com, the New York Times, The Root, the National Journal, Essence Magazine, BET.com, The Griot, and Ebony Magazine. In addition to ongoing work with elected officials, government executives, historically black colleges and university leaders, and advocacy groups, Dr. Tolson conceptualized the White House Initiative on HBCU's All Stars program during the Obama administration, which identified and engaged the top HBCU scholars as a senior research analyst for the CBCF. Dr. Tolson conceptualized, developed, and authored the Breaking Barriers series, which analyzed success indicators for school-aged black males. He has worked effectively with members of the Congressional Black Caucus and their staff to organize national and district level forums on educational equity and access. Thank you. Dr. Tolson has leadership experience and has served on many advisory boards. He is an advisory board member for Generation Ready and the Morehouse Research Institute, and on the board of directors and civil rights organization with a distinguished focus on improving educational opportunities for African American children. Dr. Tolson was named in the 2013 and 2014 the Root 100, an annual ranking of the most influential African American leaders. His body of research report, Building a Beloved Community, for his role in shaping sponsored programs for Black male achievement. Dr. Tolson was awarded the Equity Champion Award from the New York City Department of Education, Outstanding Alumni Award from Penn State Black Alumni Association, Top 25 Forensic Psychology Professors, ForensicColleges.com, and the Emerging Scholar designation from the Diverse magazine. Since graduate school, Dr. Tolson has had a current career-long affiliation with historically Black colleges and universities. He takes pride in his ability to promote historically Black colleges and universities, scholarship, and is an example of professional talent cultivated at historically Black. He holds an honorary doctorate from Florida Memorial University. He is married to Marcella Tolson, and together their daughter, Makina, and their son, Ivory Caleb. And I want to now introduce Dr. Tolson to speak for himself and to correct any misrepresentations that I did in reading his bio. I try to make sure that I read the whole bio, but sometimes I may stumble over words. I have not been as educated as you, Dr. Tolson, in this world, and so I may have misread something. If I did, it was not purposeful. It was accidental. And you feel I will not be offended if you correct it. And matter of fact, I would welcome you and invite you to correct it so that we can really understand you and give you the honor that we want to. And so now, Dr. Tolson, the microphone is open to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Very well.
Good. Yeah. The bio was read perfectly. Nothing to correct.
I see they, Dr. Tolson, you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
So he's on the screen in front.
Oh, okay. I can see him. Okay. You want to tell us more about yourself? For instance, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
So that's not too far from where you all are. And I went to elementary school with Woodrow. That's the one who invited me. So I remember him well. We were pretty good friends in elementary school.
Yes, sir.
And so when he invited me to come and talk on the program, I certainly took the invitation from a friend. And I grew up with parents who were very racially conscious and taught me, instilled a sense of Black pride within me. My stepfather was Mario Deli, and he has a history in Mississippi where he led the Republicans of Africa, which had their headquarters in Jackson, Mississippi. And he was a target of COINTELPRO, and ended up his organization ended up in a shootout with Jackson State, or Jackson, the city of Jackson's police department, because of agitation that the FBI instigated through COINTELPRO. So growing up with him in my life and my biological father, who wrote Roots of Soul, really gave me a good foundation and understand how different structures in this country can be shaped to hold Black people back, and my charge, to try to create better opportunities for Black people.
I was very impressed about how you had been appointed by former President Obama. Tell us a little about how that came about. Because when I first, I want to be honest with you, when I first saw Barack Obama, I didn't have a lot of confidence. So I've seen Black leaders come and wind up betraying us, and I saw a lot of that growing up, and so when I first saw him and heard Joe Biden saying that he viewed him as he would any other white man, I said, "Oh my goodness!" And so I was vocal. I said, "I don't know nothing about this Negro. I'm not going to vote for him. I vote for John McCain." And after he won, I started following his, what he was doing. I didn't too much get involved in politics until I saw them elect him. I said, "Oh man, I got to see what's going to go on here." And the more I watched that young man, the more I respected him. And so I came back out and apologized for, since I didn't support him openly, I got out in the open and withdrew my support. I got back out and apologized and told the people that they was right and I was wrong. I didn't. He surprised me, and Joe Biden surprised me at what I was thinking about white people too. And Joe, I was waiting on him to do something to embarrass the first Black president, and he never did. And I said he meant what he said. He saw Barack Obama as he would any other white man, which meant he saw him just as a man. White people don't see white people when they look at each other, they don't see white man, they don't see white woman, they see man and woman. And so I understood that. And so I began to support them both. And I just it is I mean, for you to be a young man, all you young men that are trying to do the right thing for our people. I'm not going to tell you I agree with everything that I have seen from the NAACP, none of these groups, but I do see hope in the fact that many of you now recognize the injustice that has been done to our people, and are not afraid to speak up about it. some even at the threat of losing their job or whatever. When we get to the point where we care more about justice and equity for our people than we care about somebody firing us, then we will be more like Patrick Henry and Nathan Hale, the man that said, I only have one life, and I regret that I only have one life to give for my country. And that's what I've always admired that from the first time I heard it in elementary school. I thought that was something a man was not standing up begging for people not to kill him when he was standing up for his country. He told them, hey, do it again. If they'd have to kill him again. And I thought that was really something to admire. And today I still do. And so tell us about your meeting with, we got some other things we're going to talk about, this matrix I see they got. But tell us about your meeting with the President Obama.
Yeah, I was working for the Congressional Black Caucus when he ran for president, and I supported his campaign. And I was also pretty close to a member of Congress, Danny Davis, who was very supportive of my work with young black men in the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation.
Who was that Congressman?
He was Congressman Danny Davis from Chicago.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, so when I was doing work on black male achievement, he was the member of Congress that I most aligned with in terms of his thinking and his thoughts about what we needed to do to achieve and the work that he was doing in Congress to try to get more support for black education, for reentry programs, for criminal justice reform. So during the time when I was writing the report, I leaned on him a lot in terms of helping me to host events, and I had him write a introduction to one of the reports. So this was before President Obama became president, and so he was an early supporter of President Obama's campaign. And so when President Obama got into office, he started an initiative called the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. And so Congressman Danny Davis, recommended to President Obama that I be considered to be the executive director of that initiative because of the work that I had done with black males. And so there was a process that ensued after that, a vetting process, a lot of interviews. But long story short, they ended up selecting someone else to be the executive director of the White House Initiative on HBCUs. But they needed a director. They needed an executive director for the White House. Somebody else to be the executive director of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. But they had a vacancy for the White House Initiative on HBCUs, and they asked me if I would consider applying for that one. So I applied for that one, and I was selected as an appointment.
What did you have any what share personal communication
Interaction
with interaction with the President Obama?
I've never been in the room with him many times, but typically there was at least 200, 100 to 200 other people in the room at the same time. So I didn't have any one-on-one interaction with him or any intimate contact, but lots of contact.
What about Vice President Biden? What about is there anything you can tell us about him that you gathered from observing him?
Yeah, when I worked for the Obama administration, I had some interaction with President Biden also. maybe slightly more than with President Obama. And he spoke at one of our HBCU conferences. So I really enjoyed the interactions I had with him then. I thought that, like you, I thought he was a really good vice president, that he was very supportive of President Obama. Was, loyal in a way that I think President Obama needed, that as being the first black president, and being a younger black man. Biden, President Biden now, being an older white man, and really being in that secondary role and being proud of it and being proud to serve in the administration, and to have that proper level of deference to Obama's leadership. I thought that was admirable.
So the image that I got of him actually is true. That means something to me. It's not a he's not a phony. What you see with him is what it is. I mean, that's how he comes off to me, is that the man is real, and I love being around real people. Don't be one way with me in public and another way in private. Let's be the same all the time, and that's what I like. So look, I'm not gonna rush you off of here either now. This is something that I want to hear from you, and I also want your thoughts on this this flyer that they put out for us. It says Black History Month, Monday, February 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. The Son of Man and Dr. Ivory Tolson. The subject matter is critical race theory and the matrix of this world. If I assume you and Brother Woodrow discussed that, and that's fine with me. But I do want to, if it's something in particular that you wanted to share with us about our history or anything else, I want you to feel free now to just.
I was taught to follow my elders, so.
Okay, well, I just led you to this. So go ahead. I just led you to this then. Now that's you led me there.
Okay. Yeah, so critical race theory, that's been a topic that's been discussed quite a bit in the media, and a lot. It's interesting that critical race theory it came about through Black scholars about 40 years ago, and what the Black scholars was to have a better understanding of how systems that may not appear racist on the outside can have racist outcomes. And what they were confused about is how you can have a criminal justice system in a predominantly Black city that may have Black judges, you may have Black prosecutors, you may have Black bailiffs, you may have Black different aspects of it. You might even have a Black mayor, but you still end up having majority Black people in the criminal justice system. And so these are legal scholars, and they came up with a theory of critical race theory that helps to put in perspective how racist outcomes can be baked into a system, and that in order to have an equitable system, a system that treats Black people fairly, you have to do more than change the players. You have to change the system. That's what critical race theory is about. recently there's been an attack on critical race theory, and there's been a kind of a McCarthyism, a New Age Red Scare, where they have taken this theory, they have misrepresented it, made it out to be something that is not, misrepresented the nature in which it may be influencing diversity efforts in schools, and they're using it to do things as broad as try to stop all of Black history from being taught, or try to stop teachers from being taught about cultural bias, and trying to stop any diversity initiatives. And so that's something that's going on in education right now, and we have to be aware of it and do what we can to stop it.
Well, I as I was listening to them trying to rewrite the history, retell the history of what was done to us, and it dawned on me that the reason that they don't want the truth about slavery to be told is because they are losing the racist mentality in white people is waning. They are losing their young people because, see, you can't on one hand and go to church and teach people that Jesus taught brotherhood and love, and Jesus taught freedom and justice and equality, and then you go back, they come back home and they hear you sitting up at the table, and go to school, they sit up and listen to how you mistreated a whole nation of people. Their fathers did this to us. And so now the children are looking at the fathers, and it's coming to pass that, as Jesus said, I think not that I came to send peace. I came not to send peace on earth, but a sword. I'm come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. Everyone who is for truth, who is for justice, when they look at injustice, it don't make no difference who's doing it. They hate it. And so this is why they don't want the history of what they did to us told to their children, because their children will turn against them. And that's what's happening. Just like me, I turned against the ways of my father. That's what learning the truth did. And, you know, I tell him, Daddy, I'm not going to take this stuff. No. You know, y'all should have been told us what was happening with this. I grew up in LA, in Los Angeles, and I was born in Mississippi, but I grew up in Los Angeles, and I hadn't experienced what my father and mother had experienced in Mississippi, and I didn't know the low down stuff that was done to us. And so when I found out, it made me look at the ways of my parents as the wrong way. You cannot sweep that stuff under the rug. You got to stand up and talk about it and make the world know that we was done wrong. And threatening me or telling me what you're gonna do to me for speaking up about it. If that would have stopped that from happening, I could understand it. I could understand being quiet about it. But when you was gonna get beat down anyway, why not just go on and stand up and speak up and get beat down for doing the right thing instead of getting beat down just for GP? So I've decided that it's time now to actually do what even Dr. King, he said that he had a dream that one day men would be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Well, dreams don't become reality unless the dreamer wakes up and starts working towards what he dreamed about. And so this is the day where I'm a Muslim and proud of it. Not gonna hide it. But at the same time, when I see white people, I see what they show me. Not what I've been told about them, but what they show me. That is what I'm looking at. Because it's not, and none of us have been righteous, man. Ain't no human being walking around here. I don't care how much he think he has been. The scripture said there is none righteous. No, not one. Okay. Well, since none of us been righteous, then the wages of sin is death. Then we all are on death row as far as God's word goes. Then now we have a chance, since he has opened up the understanding of the scripture to us. We all have a chance. We have received a new lease on life. He said he'd forgive us if we would straighten up and do what is right. Now, I'm willing to push that stuff in the past. If these white people that used to come to me when I was teaching that they are devils and that they are wicked by nature and that they deserve destruction, and they used to come to us and they say, that was our fathers. We didn't do that. Why would you hold us accountable for what our fathers did? And so now I say to all of these who going around here trying to block black people from being able to vote while they still taxing us. Taxation without representation is tyranny. That's what they taught me in elementary school. But yet they taxing my people and don't want to let my people vote for who's going to represent them in the government. So now it's not their fathers, it's them. And it ain't our fathers, it's us. It's all being done by the present generations. And I stopped buying wolf tickets a long time ago. And just in case they don't know what that means, I stopped being afraid of death and afraid of what somebody's gonna do to me. Hey, you can't come after my behind and leave yours at home. So I'm a man that wants peace with whoever will let me be at peace with them. But I cannot be at peace with someone who is trying to terrorize my people. I can't be at peace with someone who does to me what they fought a war over, a revolutionary war to keep a tyrant king from doing to them. I just can't accept that. This is the critical part of race theory. See, when you look at the word critic, it means to look at and analyze. When you look at the history of us, yes, it is critical race theory because we've suffered under racism. We have suffered racism ever since we've been in this country. And we didn't come here as immigrants. We came here in the holds of slave ships. We were forced here. Then they speak to us as though we were immigrants. Go back where you came from. We didn't come here. You stole us and brought us here. And forced us to stay here and educated us in your matrix. And now you made us call ourselves Americans. And then when we started acting like what you made us, then you told us, get out. You told us, this ain't you. You don't have no stake here. But you taxing us. I would be glad to bow out of their political system. I ain't got no problem with that. But stop taxing us. Give us some place in this country where we can design and have our own self-determination about what we will do, what we will teach our children, and everything else. We have engineers. The brother that invited you here, he's an architect. Brother Woodrow, He has his degree in architecture. We are not a people that have to lay down and beg people to stop mistreating us. I'm looking at your credentials. You are a long way from being a dummy. So we don't have to beg anyone. When we ask people to treat us right, we are not treating others wrong while asking them to treat us right. We are asking them to treat us as they would like to be treated and as we treat them. I respect this country. You see that flag flying next to our flag at our school. That's out of respect for the United States government. They let a man who declared war on this country, they let them all down south here fly a flag that declared war on the United States. I would never have let them fly that flag in this country again. I sure wouldn't. That Confederate flag? I told them, no, you're not going to fly that flag in this country. You declared war on this country. I don't care how mad to get. Abraham Lincoln made the mistake of forgiving people that didn't ask for no forgiveness. And he got a bullet in his brain for doing it. They declared war on this country and lost the war, and then started building statues of reverence to the people who made war on the United States. No. It's time to tell the truth. It's time for all of the children to know the truth about who was who and what was what. And just remember, it's a whole lot of things that I say that I know that I'm not agreed with by everybody, but I say it, and I will give anybody $50,000 and pay with my life about anything. And that's not what you hear people say hyperbole. That's not no hyperbolic statement. I'll cut the check tonight. They don't want the truth now taught in the school. Why? Because the truth condemns what they claim they stood for. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. And ever since they wrote that, many in this country have went against that very statement, depriving us of life, depriving us of liberty, which is freedom, depriving us of the right to pursue happiness. Beautiful words, but they don't live up to them. But I see a man that's in office now that you just reaffirmed to me that I did not misread that man. Joe Biden is trying to save this country. And if white people that's listening, if you smart, you will help that man. I'm just telling you. I'm going to help him as much as I can. And I don't care who don't like it. I will stand up with anybody who stand up for justice. Doc, you came in here to share some things with us, and I want to hear from you. But I needed to let you know where I stood on this other stuff here, man.
Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah, and I'm here to answer any questions that you all have. I share my thoughts about critical race theory, the topic. So if there's anything else about my background or anything else you want me to talk about in the next 20 minutes I have here, let me know.
Tell us about your beautiful family, man. I mean, we are, I see you married, you have 2 children. What's their ages?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a 8-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's beautiful family, beautiful life. I've made 20 years this year.
Okay.
We have our 20th anniversary.
Yes.
And, having children, that puts a lot of these educational issues in perspective. So you start to really think about what kind of education you want for your own children. And, I did a lot of research on education before I had children. But having children, that puts it in perspective, and you start to really think about what you want for your children and what other children deserve and what you're able to give your children that some children unfortunately can't have. And a lot of times that's just a basic understanding of their own value.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot that we have to do. And I know you all have your own school, and you have a system where you teach Black children to love themselves. But a lot of Black children don't have that. A lot of Black children, they go to the public school system, and my children are in public schools, but we can augment their education at home. But if you're in a family that don't know how important it is for you to love yourself and love your race, and to understand your history and understand the history of the people around you, it can be pretty tough. So, that's why I do what I do. That's why you do what you do.
Yes.
Because we want Black people to understand their value in a nation, as you said, oftentimes devalues us.
That's something that I think about often about our children.
Mm-hmm.
We keep going from generation to generation, struggle for our children to suffer the things that we couldn't put a stop to. Then it's the last generation that we're going to hand down to our children. If I have anything to do with it, our Black children ain't going to have to suffer what we suffered ever again. We're going to put an end to this stuff. One way or the other, it's going to stop. With God's help. I'm not talking about dropping no bombs on nobody and shooting nobody. We wasn't put in slavery, Dr. Tolson. We wasn't put in slavery to learn how to shoot guns and drop bombs. We were put at the mercy of a beast, of a man of a people who didn't recognize our humanity. God gave us over to these people for a reason. And that reason was because he wanted us our way out of any problem that confronted us. And the mere fact that we are having a rational, think about our history, brother. It was against the law to let us learn to read. It was every avenue of enlightenment was cut off from us at some point in our history. And yet you and I are having an enlightened conversation here now. Instead of being insane. This is what slavery was for. So that we would, when we come into rulership, when we would not become tyrants. We would not look at poverty as being deserved by lazy people. Because we know that in our history, people said that about us when it was not true. It was not that we were lazy. It was that people cut off all avenues to us that would allow us to work our way out of a situation, and then blamed us for not being able to get out of it when they created it. You see? And so I'm not going to let that mind game be played on us no more. What, Dr. Tolson, what good would it be for me to be in a closet somewhere with you talking about what was done to our people and saying anything about, for instance, anything about white people that I have to say? If I can't say it to their face, I need to just shut up. I'm not going to talk about him behind his back. If I'm telling the truth, even the justice system in this country, even though it's unjust in many ways, one just thing to face whoever is accusing him. So, if I'm going to accuse them of these things, if it's white people listening right now, and I know it is, they can unmute their phone and can tell me whatever it is I'm saying about them that's not true. I'm not gonna lie on you. Not if I tell an untruth about you, it's because I thought it was true. I'm not gonna deliberately say anything about anyone that I know is not true. Nope, that's lying. If you don't know that a thing is not true, even though it may be a lie, if you didn't know it was a lie and you said it, that does not make you a liar. You see, that means that's why you need to face people with what you say. And that way, if you are mistaken, they can correct you and you can stop the spread of a lie about that people through your mouth, through your lips. And so I'm here to represent truth. Even if it's against me, if you can't represent when it's against you, you cannot represent the truth when you find it against someone else. You must represent the truth all the time, or you don't represent the truth any of the time. You know, you go to court. If they catch you in a lie, it brings into suspect everything you said up to that point. You see, so my teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Tolson, taught us this. He said, if one word that I'm teaching is a lie, he said, then it's all a lie. That's what he told me. I haven't thing he taught yet that I could say wasn't true. Because the more I research it, the more I find that he told us the truth. It's just like the devil. When he told us the white man is the devil, I thought that meant white skin. And you know, so I was looking at everybody that's born white, he's devil. But that's not what the messenger was telling us. He was telling us that we made him devil. You was made a doctor. You wasn't born a doctor. You was made a doctor by the education that went in your head. A man that's a pilot, Brother Woodrow, he was made an architect. But when he was in that baby ward at that place, it didn't say baby architect, it said baby boy. And so we all born baby boy or baby girl. If we become devils, that happened to us after we got here. That happened because of what went into our brain. And since we know that, and the scripture says, it says, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but with powers and principalities, and against spiritual wickedness and the rulers of the darkness of this world. We wrestle with minds. That's where devil is. Devil is mind. And that means everybody can be saved if they want to.
Yeah.
Because everybody can change if they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you who listening to Dr. Tolson and myself, if you got something you want to ask Dr. Tolson, feel free to do so. I mean, he just let us know that he's on a time schedule here. I didn't put him on the time schedule. He but I mean, he can stay here as long as he wants. I mean, I'm not run. I don't run my guests off. Nope.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I appreciate you for it. But yeah, but I do have to go around 10 o'clock.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, then we got another hour, man.
No, it's 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'm on a different time zone.
You in a different time zone. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 10 o'clock for me is 7 minutes from now.
Okay. Did anyone have their hand up for Dr. Tolson?
No, sir, not currently.
Dr. Tolson, if you know something about our history here in this country, especially us here in this country, that you may have recently found out or whatever, share it with us, brother. I mean, I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I recently found out a little bit about my family history. I found out that my grandfather's grandfather was born on a plantation in Kentucky, and he was a product of a white slave owner raping an enslaved African, and he brought my grandfather's grandfather to Louisiana with him, along with his other children, and his other children taught my grandfather's grandfather how to read and write, and my grandfather's grandfather, Grandson Khan, he left the plantation and went and joined the Union Army when the Civil War broke out. So he became a Civil War veteran. And so after he served his duty in the Civil War, he had a daughter, and the daughter, I just found out that piece of history within a year, about a year ago, and what struck me is how many of our ancestors thought like that, and a lot of times our history is reduced to we were slaves. White people were slave owners, and black people were enslaved. But our ancestors were just so much more than that. He was born into slavery, but he died a Civil War veteran, and someone who fought to end slavery. And so many black people, particularly black people from the South, fought on the side of the Union Army. In fact, that turned the tide of the war.
Yes.
If Abraham Lincoln didn't eventually allow black people who left slavery to, that the Union Army would have won the war. And that's something that they're not teaching us about our own history. And so, it's just the way that they teach history is just not designed to create the kind of pride that we deserve. And it's a distorted view of history. It's a history that places white people and whiteness at the center of it. So the ending slavery becomes their decision, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that black people made slavery untenable. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Abraham Lincoln said himself that if he could keep the Union together without freeing a single slave, he would do it. But he realized that he could not save the Union and still have slavery. But we don't really think a whole lot about, why did Abraham Lincoln say that? Why couldn't Abraham Lincoln keep the Union together without freeing slaves? The reason why he couldn't is because slaves were fighting. These black people who were enslaved, they were fighting. There was hundreds of black people who were escaping slavery every single month in the months leading up to the Civil War. That's documented.
Yes.
So you had hundreds of black people leaving their plantations. They were going to the north. They were radicalized in the abolitionist movement. They were settling off of islands off the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina and Louisiana. They were starting their own maroon colonies. They were going to Mexico. They were going to Canada. They were leading insurrections. They were fighting back. So that's what Abraham Lincoln meant. But because we're taught to center everything around white people, we just think that white people were arguing over slavery too much. No, it was more than that. It was black people making slavery untenable. That's why slavery ended. It ended because black people fought for it to end. And so these are the types of ways that we have to reshape the narrative, and we have to teach children truth about themselves. There's that old African proverb. If a lion even has his own historian, then the hunter always becomes the hero. And so we definitely have to tell our own story, so that heroes like my grandfather and my grandfather's grandfather is given the kind of shine that they deserve in our schools.
That's right.
And that's what I want to close with, man. I appreciate listening to you. I appreciate hearing from you. This is the first time I've heard you preach, and so you have a lot of good things to say, and I understand why so many people admire you so much. So thank you. I enjoy being with you.
Well, I hope this is not our last conversation, and that your last time coming in here. I want you to come back and share some more with us. For you just told me a lot of things that I didn't know, and so I'm thankful, brother, and I wish you didn't have to go.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody did raise their hand real quick. I wanted to see.
Do you have time for one question, Dr. Toll?
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
May wa alaikum alayhi salam.
I actually have a question that I would like limit your and Dr. Tolson's insight on. It's based off something you said earlier. So based off your experience and Dr. Tolson as a leader and Dr. Tolson's background in the political field, what can the everyday person do in our day-to-day lives to ensure that the form of hardship aren't passed down, the poverty and the redlining, et cetera?
I'll let Dr. Tolson answer that.
Our daily lives, it's learn and absorb as much information as we possibly can, ask as many questions as we possibly can, don't take anything at face value, know everybody who represents you, know who represents you on the school board, know who represents you in state Congress and U.S. Congress, and don't be afraid to voice your opinion to the people that represent you. Even if you didn't vote for them, they represent you. And a lot of times they do a lot of things that they do in the shadows. And we need to make sure that they know that we're watching them. we should all learn about ourselves too, learn about our history. There's a lot of great people that I'm still learning about, and I'm 48 years old, and I consider myself someone who's learned a lot. But people like Robert Small in South Carolina. Yeah, I learned about Robert Small only about 5 years ago because I took a trip to South Carolina, saw his name, and decided to do some research. But a lot of times, people will just see a name on the side of the road. I saw Robert Small on a placard that said "Born into Slavery," and died a successful business owner and a member of Congress. And I wanted to know, how someone was born into slavery and became a member of Congress, and not state Congress, but in the federal government. So I did some reading and was very intrigued by that story. But too many people just pass by signs like that and don't investigate further. And so the more we all know, and the more we all share, and the more we all speak up, the better position we will be to advance.
I don't know nothing I need to add to that.
Yeah, thank you.
I thank
And
you.
I thank you for your question.
And I will say this: I have learned that as much as we think, we should not always say.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate our brother, Dr. Tolson, for coming in. I
appreciate you.
I want you to pay us a visit sometime so we can sit down face to face and talk.
Okay, that sounds good.
Brother Woodrow, you heard me now. All right. Okay. And greet your family.
That's what I will make it for you.
May wa alaikum Allah salam. Greet your family and give them my love. I mean
Thank you.
I mean that. Okay. May Allah salam alaikum. It's one thing that I want to remind all of you of. White people have held on to their country for over 200 years of independence because they knew when to speak and they knew when not to in a public forum. It's not so much that they were doing everything crooked as it was that they knew that in a public arena, everyone that may be listening to you may not mean you no good. So you don't make plans for your well-being in public. You make those plans in private. Do you understand? Okay. President comes out, he don't get into all of his talks with you with that he had at a summit meeting. That's why they call them summits, because it's the heads of state. They are at the top. A summit is at the top of a mountain. Well, they have summit meetings. Those are heads of governments. And when they get together and they talk about their relationships with one another and their concerns, they express that privately to keep ego from getting in the way. Because whenever you get in a crowd of people, sometimes in order to keep people from thinking that you're weak, you have to put on a show of, and sometimes that's what it is. It's a show. But you could have stopped from having to put on a show of force and power if you'd have had sense enough to just go have a brotherly conversation with your counterpart. And then you both agree on what can need to be done without egos getting in the way. So this is so there's certain questions that you won't find me going into no answers with, but I'm not gonna get into our private business over no telephone. And then no, I'm not gonna do that. So whatever we need to do, we need to know that, and then we need to go do that instead of talking about it. Do you understand? All right. So, you know, I have to say that publicly because it seems to have to be said more and more and over and over and over. You know, one thing I notice about when people want to get in government, I was surprised that that a man don't have to. I hope Congress changes this. That a man don't have to be able to pass a security clearance, get a security clearance to be the president of the United States. I mean, I know that it could get political, but the way you keep it from getting political is you get both. You get both sides, or get some disinterested parties and don't let them be chosen publicly. They should never be known. And let them watch and see whether a man is being framed up or whatnot, because people will try to make it look like the man should not be president because he's a security risk when he may not be. But you know, even if you're gonna let that office, let whoever the people choose for that office not have to go through a security clearance, everybody that he chooses should have to be go through a security check before you let them be in his cabinet. If they cannot stand ignorance, do you understand? So you can get in some muddy waters, starting to say that this man can't be president because he. I don't want to go too far with that. Telling this man how a lot of things they did, I can see the wisdom of it. Because the people have a right to choose who they want for president. But the president, he can't just bring people in. That way, if he is a traitor or whatever, he can't fill your government or fill the place with other traitors. Do you understand? That's part of being able to put a check on him. Do you understand? All right. So I'm all for protecting your house. Protect your country. You know, and take your blinders off, man. Racism is a blinder. You better wake up. Whatever can get between you and justice, between you and truth, is a weakness. And it can be exploited to your detriment by your enemies. Okay. Now,
sir.
Yes.
I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
The brother asked, he says, you said that the white man sees another white man as a man. What do you think about Whoopi Goldberg's comments on the Holocaust?
I didn't hear what Whoopi Goldberg said about the Holocaust.
She last week she was suspended for 2 weeks from her her job at the TV show The View, and she made the comments while talking about critical race theory. She said something to the effect of that was a war. What Adolf Hitler did was something that happened between white people. It didn't have anything to do with racism.
Oh, yes, it did have something. It had everything to do with racism. She just didn't understand that. She didn't mean no harm by it. I'm pretty sure she didn't mean no harm by it. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at Adolf Hitler's stance, he was purity. And so he didn't see nothing wrong with killing off all them white people, because they wasn't pure as far as he was concerned. He's a fool. And he needed a uniting force. And so he picked the ones who he considered to be the biggest threat to him, to make them the pariah, to make them the reason why everybody is suffering. And he called the Jews. You know, the Jews are an industrious people. They are hardworking. They look at what they do for their young people. They get a certain age, they help set them up in business and that kind of thing. And other people get jealous when you have a system of being able to be an upward bound system. And people that don't have that, people generally will get jealous of you. They were jealous of the Jews. That's what the biggest problem was. You know, so I think Whoopi needed to do a little more. I think she apologized for that, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
Because she didn't mean no harm by it. I would not, this thing about it's just like when people get us wrong. You know, all I want to do is correct the situation. I ain't finna go off the deep end just because somebody said something about our history that ain't true. I just want to straighten it out. And now let's straighten it out. Hitler was a racist. And it's just like these racists here. You know, when a man becomes a racist, regardless to the ones he claimed to love, he lying. His racism will not allow him to love anyone. How you know? This is how you know. Watch what happens when those who he claimed to love, even if they was what he called pure, if they decide that hurting those people that Hitler hates, if they decide those are human beings, we can't do that to them, then he turn on them. Do you understand? So he don't love nobody. There's no such thing as having a heart that can love and hate at the same time. You cannot. If you hate, you don't have love in you. I tell you what, do you know of a well that can bring forth sweet water and salt water? When does that happen? It either brings forth sweet water or salt water, but it don't bring both. I didn't hear you. You see, now Luther Burbank might have came up with a tree that had oranges on some and lemons on others, but they was mixed in a little bit there, and it's still a separate tree, but it's just all linked up in there. But no, man, you can't have a heart filled with love and hate. It don't work. You see? So the people who are pretenders to love one people while hating another, that's what they're doing. They're pretending. And you find out they was pretending if you look like them and you don't hate who they hate, then they ready to kill you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So no, they don't love you. No, you see. So the scripture says that any man that says he loves God and hates his fellow man hates his brother. Now, in the sense of being men, God already told us we was all brothers in that sense. He said God made all nations of men from one blood. Okay, well then that makes us all a family. And family is where you find brothers and sisters. Huh? So in the way of human beings, we are all family. We're all brothers and sisters on the natural scale. So if you hate this yellow brother over here and claim to love this white brother, or you hate this brown brother or this black brother, and you love the yellow brother, you lying. You don't love none of them. And it's a quick way to prove it. All you have to do is watch what happens to them who treat someone nice that you want to be treated as nothing. Then you hate them too. As a matter of fact, what did them civil rights white people that came down here in the civil rights movement, was that in Alabama, Mississippi, wherever it was? And when they caught the black one, they killed the black and the white ones that was with him. I didn't hear you. So do they love white people?
No, sir.
Hell no. They don't love nobody. It's just a lie they tell. And you stupid enough to believe it. Them white people thought they were safe to come down here with them until they found out that they was treating black people right. They said, a nigger lover, kill him. Huh? They don't want that taught in school, you see. Don't make no difference if you don't never teach it. The only ones you doing is damning your own children. Because this thing gonna stop with this generation. You ain't finna continue this stuff. You're gonna either straighten up or you're gonna be stretched out. Now you suit yourself. Now I know you think that ain't gonna happen. What have I ever told you was gonna happen that didn't happen? This generation shall not pass until all be fulfilled. Now, you suit yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is what I say to people who are, let me say this to the Jewish people. I know you are very, very careful to not let people stand out in the public and misrepresent you, and I don't blame you. You haven't forgot what being quiet when people was misrepresenting you and blaming you for everything, and being quiet about it didn't stop you from being marched into ovens. So I don't blame you for speaking up, but recognize something, that when people say things that are not, may not be so accurate, you must consider the source. And a lot of times you can stop a lot of injustice by simply saying, wait, look, it ain't worth all of that. That ain't so, this is why. And then, instead of getting all up in arms and wanting to punish people for their mistaking comments or whatever, all right, don't, cut that out. When people got something wrong about the Nation of Islam, you got people that ain't Muslims trying to give you the history of the Nation of Islam. How in the world are you going to give a history of my nation? Put something on there about the history of Malcolm X, trying to beautify Malcolm's history or whatever. Malcolm turned traitor. didn't prove that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't the messenger of God. All you who say you got some proof that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't God's messenger, one at a time, unmute your phone and tell me what your proof is. Was Judas a good man? Come on, tell me about how good Judas was. I don't never hear you saying Judas. Oh man, Judas got a bad rep. Judas wasn't bad. Don't nobody even name their child Judas now. I didn't hear you.
No, sir.
Why not?
Because it carries a bad connotation.
Because Jesus was Judas's friend, and Judas betrayed him for money. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was Malcolm's friend, and Malcolm betrayed him because he wanted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's position. Now you gonna try to turn him into a hero? And all you hypocrites out there that's sitting up there, that's what you are. You're a hypocrite. You don't care nothing about Malcolm. You don't care nothing about Malcolm. Ain't none of y'all carrying on nothing Malcolm did. Because he didn't do nothing. But turn on the one who did something. Now, I hope all of you hear this. You can be my family, whether it's my offspring or whether it's my followers. Whenever you mouth off at me, you be ready to go. Get away from me. I ain't gonna hear no more mouthing off at me from none of you. If you can't control your tongue around me, then that means you are a potential threat to everything that I'm here for. Because you can't control yourself, which means you don't believe I'm the Lord. And I done did too much to earn that title to put up with somebody who don't believe. So I'm gonna start putting you out. Allah said, if your right eye offend you, pluck it out. Now, you got one more time, any of you, to mouth off at me or make me think that you are being insubordinate, and I'm gonna put you out from among us. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now don't say I didn't tell you. I warned you. So I can't help but think about that. I was thinking about them Menendez boys took a shotgun and murdered their mother and father. And you know what I get in my mind? As I told you, I have the image of their mother pregnant, carrying them, putting their diapers on, and smiling and kissing them like I've seen mothers do, and fathers, they pick up their thing, that's my boy, that's my baby. And their baby grew up and blew their brains out, blew their hearts out. Raise your children the way Allah told you. I turn out right, all of them. But I guarantee you, some of them will. Withhold not correction from the child. If thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. So, raise your children to respect you, and they will respect all adults. Then teach them after they have respect for you, then you can teach them. Now, this is how you do when you run into an adult that does this. You don't have to talk sassy to them or whatnot. You just say yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, or no, sir, or no, ma'am, and then you leave. You ain't got to obey no bad instructions from anyone. Now, many of you hear me say that, and you think you might can apply that to me. When Allah already answered that question before you even let that thought come in your brain. We sent no messenger but that he should be obeyed. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you think you can get away with disobeying me, keep thinking that. Allah see you. And you're going to get what you got coming for your disobedience. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. You sit there and I don't care if you sit there steaming or you can sit there and take it to heart and correct yourself. But when I tell you what I want done, I don't want to hear nothing from you who say you my followers and my family. I don't want to hear nothing from you but yes, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. You are soldiers in the army of the Lord. And they stood up in exceeding great army. I didn't hate.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, see, white people listening to me, I come there and say, that man a megalomaniac. That man is the president of the United States a megalomaniac? When he speaks, he getting ready to send some troops over to Ukraine and other places. I mean, if he say go, they're gone. I didn't hear you. Don't be how many white people that's listening to me think I don't have no authority to order people around? Unmute your phone and tell me that I ain't got no authority. And stay on the line till I'm finished with you. Now, how many of y'all out there that look like me think I ain't got no authority to order you and tell you what to do? Come on in here and tell me about I ain't got no authority. Somebody got their hand up?
No, sir.
Anybody typing anything, Brother Mark?
No, sir.
All right, well, since all of you are starting to believe that I am the Son of Man, get yourself in these classes and learn. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Learn of me, meaning let me teach you. You learn by means of listening to me. Well, my yoke is easy. And the only burden I put on you is light of understanding. My burden is light. That's what I am. I'm the Son of Man. S-U-N. Son of Man. So I want you to, I was thinking over this this planet and how it was before we you know, black people are kind of like, well, human beings are kind of like the planets. One see one doing something, and the other one start doing it too. At least trying to do it. If it ain't doing it, you when the now this is something that just popped into my brain here. And have you thought about where the book says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. Kind of like an egg, the ovum of a woman. It starts off without form and it's void, empty, except for what's in it, what is of itself. And darkness, it says, was up on the face of the deep. You see, it's just like inside of the womb of the woman, eggs are all located. It's like the universe, it's dark in there. Huh? And so it says, God created the heaven and the earth. He thought it up. And so the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And you'll notice that's the way conception takes place. Little life germs swim up there and they start bumping up against the egg and it starts turning, moving up on the face of the water surrounding that ovum there. And God said, let there be light. Eventually, there's one of them, it's an opening created, and one of them makes it in. And then the consistency of the egg changes, and another one can't get in. There can't be but one, generally. And so it says, and God said, let there be light. You notice the earth, I mean, this is, if I was going to give a depiction, now I'm just standing up here thinking, these are the kind of thoughts I have. I'm not telling you this is how it happened, but I'm telling you, if I was going to make a movie, this is what it would be like. It would have the earth sitting in space, just sitting there, like the egg sitting up in the woman. And then the little creatures, the little sperm of the man begins bumping against it, and that egg actually starts rotating. They keep bumping it, and it starts turning. And but anyway, as the planet itself is a living entity, all matter is living. It is living matter. And you know that it's living, it's alive, because we are composed of it and we are alive. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Now this is so the man that was formed out of the earth, the first one, was brought out of the earth much like you build a house that you intend to dwell in. I didn't hear you. Huh? Well, The first man was formed by the mind that intended to dwell in it. Huh? Before me, there was no God formed. It didn't say before me there was no God. No God formed. Huh?
Yes, sir.
You notice, before you built there was no foundation formed for it, but you had to form a foundation to put it on. So, you know the scriptures, and I'm trying to show you the deepness, the depth of scripture. I'm not teaching on no particular subject. I just wanted to show you that you hear these things. Let's see here. This is the 43rd chapter of Isaiah. Now remember now, all of the messengers of God were told to bear witness. Okay, so in the 10th verse of that 43rd chapter, it says, "You are my witnesses when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy witnesses with him." I didn't hear you. All right, all the holy angels with him. It says, as Jesus told you, he said, we speak that which we do know, and we testify that which we have seen, and you receive not our witness. Huh? So Jesus was a witness. As he said, I came to bear witness unto the truth. Okay. So Isaiah came to bear witness to the truth. He said, you are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen. Saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen. Meaning one and the same. Why? It is written, and the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant. Huh? Yes, I'm the messenger of the covenant. I'm the Lord whom everyone has been seeking. Do you understand? Because I am the truth made flesh. Then it says, and you that you may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. How many universes is it?
Just one.
Well, ain't but one God of it. Before me, there was no God formed. We had 12 who was taking turns ruling, but we didn't have no one. There was no one formed before me. You notice, I'm talking to the whole planet here. Can't get nobody that come in here and call himself arguing with me. When have you ever known a man to be able to do that? Now you understand that the womb that produced this mind was specially prepared. 400 years of affliction have produced a mind that no one can argue with. And when you can't produce an argument of why you should not obey, then if you don't obey, you are guilty of unjust rebellion. What's the root word of justified?
Just.
Yes. When you have a just reason to rebel, then rebellion is not wrong. But when you cannot produce a just reason, then your rebellion is unjustified. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's get back over here. God dwells in temples, what?
Not made with hands.
Not made with hands. Where did this first man come from? Sure didn't come from nobody's hands. And sure didn't come from nobody's sperm because there wasn't nobody around. So where did he come from? He was created and made. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, made from what? Made out of the earth. And he was very crude to begin with, you know. I mean, he was formed from the dust of the earth. Mixed in, even our chemistry. You notice at the center of the earth, what keeps the earth warm is that liquid molten core, which is, you know, mixed with iron. They tell us, huh? And it erupts from time to time and creates a thin layer that we call what they call it, the mantle, huh? So the earth is the land mass on it. It is surrounding the core, and that core is red because it's that iron that's in there. Well, likewise, what's that iron? That red lava flowing through our veins. We call it blood. What is lava? If you don't believe it, cut yourself and see what happens when it cools. It leaves a scab, don't it? And the scab is hard, ain't it? Yeah. And so, I mean, we are people of the earth. Now, the first man, he was formed out of the earth and then separated himself from himself and walked around on top of himself. And, you know, the stars out there and other little balls of fire out there. And he said, let there be light. The earth was started turning, and there was light. He turned right into the light, turned out of it. And that's what I would make the movie out of. Let there be light, and the earth started turning. Then the others saw that one turning, and they started turning too. So it's a lot of things that I could say, but you know, these are just my little private thoughts that I have sometimes. Don't take it and run with it. But you know, it's a lot that we could sit down and, you know, the mind is a wonderful thing. It's the creator. You know, you notice you sit down and you look at, I was looking at the creative mind that was given to Caucasian people. When they came and saw this land here, they looked at it. When they looked at all that forest and all of these rivers and things, and I mean, they envisioned in their mind log cabins and all of this, and not tents, but log cabins, and they already knew how to turn some, you know, metal into usable instruments, and so they had a knowledge of smithery, you know, blacksmiths and whatnot, and so they came in, they took it from the one whose vision had left off with tents and turning turning skins into clothing and that kind of thing. So the man that came in, that Allah let come and take it, he had greater vision. And I remember the messenger said, he said, well, the Indian, he said, I love the Indian. He said, but he was not smart enough. He didn't have enough vision to hold on to his home. So he, God, let a stranger take it from him. He said, well, we are strangers too. And regardless to whose it is, we got to have some of the earth. Now, I didn't say we got to have it all, but we got to have some of the earth. Now, you can either share some of it with us, or we'll take it all. With the help of the forces of nature, I will take every 196,940,000 square miles of it. I told you, have your leadership talk to me. I will tell them what we need. And not only will we build ourselves up, we will help you keep up with us. Because I would like to bring you along with us. To show you, I ain't got no hard feelings against white people for what God set in motion. But now, if you want to try to hold me down, keep me from it, you ain't gonna hold me down because you ain't gonna have no mind. I thought by now you ought to see that. Do you not see all these crazy white people walking around here? All right. Don't say I didn't warn you. I warned you. So this is, as they say, the ball in your court, man. How many of you all think that I've taken leave of my senses? Do you think that I'm not that I'm a few cans short of a six-pack standing up here? You think that's what it is? 1 or 2 cans short? You think so? Ask yourself this. When have you seen a man who was not sane that people who were sane couldn't prove was insane? Now, all you sane people, come in here and show me that I'm insane. All of you who claim to be Muslims, come in here and show me, since I don't follow your way, show me that I'm not a Muslim. And stay on the phone and let's talk. And let's see who the real Muslim is. See, you can't have it both ways. You can't, on the one hand, call Prophet Muhammad to witness, and on the other hand, ignore him. Did not Prophet Muhammad say 3 generations after him? He said 3 generations after me will no longer be of me. A generation is 30 years, generally. So 90 years after Prophet Muhammad was not there, he said the people would be practicing something that wouldn't have nothing to do with him. I didn't hear you. When Prophet Muhammad was here, was anybody called Sunni Muslim? Was anyone called Shiite Muslim? Or
No.
any of these types of Muslims that you got? What is it?
No, sir. I was just saying.
No. You were just Muslim. Then where did you get all these other names from? Yeah. No longer of him. And as I told so many, you can't on the one hand talk about you looking for the hidden imam or the Mahdi, the rightly guided one to come. If you was already rightly guided, what you need a rightly guided one to come for? And if he's rightly guided, is he going to come teaching what you already got? Or is he going to come teaching something that you didn't have? Because if he going to come saying to you what you already had, well, then he ain't just the only one that's got guidance. You had it before he got there. How many of y'all had what I'm teaching before I got here? Don't nobody ask me, what book do you believe in? Because it's self-evident. I believe in all of the scriptures. It's because I'm reading from all of them right here in front of you. Is that what you do when you're in your mosque or in your church or in your synagogue or whatever? No, you got one book in there and you don't have believe in it. so you read a few lines from it and then you go off on your own. But it's the truth. I could go on and on and on, but I'm gonna leave you alone. I know I've hurt your feelings now, right? But your feelings need to be hurt. I'm around here teaching a bunch of lies. You know, let God be true, and any man and every man that says something different from what's in the scripture, let him be a liar. That's it. Now, let the word be true and every man be a liar. so that's written. So I'm here to teach you, just like when I told you I'm the first and the last. You didn't understand that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that Allah, God, is a man. What man is he? He's the first and the last. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. But the one who is the Lord, he is both the first and the last. And that's me. That's why I can talk to scholars and I can talk to angels. I can speak with the voice of them both, with the words of them both, and the understanding that they didn't have. Am I not speaking understanding that for the first time you've heard it and nobody else gave it to you before me?
Yes, sir.
Who told you what God really meant before me?
No one.
Or devil?
No one.
Or Eden?
No one.
What is a garden? It's a little bitty spot, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
What is the earth compared to the solar system?
A little bitty
A
spot.
little bitty spot. And it's a garden of eternal day and eternal night. I don't care where you look at the earth from, If you look at the earth from an objective view, you always see one side light and one side dark. Eternal day and eternal night. I didn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy, this is a wonderful day and time we living in. Eh?
Yes, sir.
All praises due to Allah. Eden. ED, eternal day. EN, eternal night. The Garden of Eden. Yep. Now, if I was not the Lord that this book talked about, let me show you one more thing. I remember this person asked the messenger about the 10 lost books of the Bible. And the messenger, let me see if I can let you hear it. Just a moment. The lost 10 books of the Bible. That's what they call it. Let me see here. Well, the messenger was a wise man, because the God who taught him was a wise God. Let's see here. Give me a minute. I'm going. Stop all that. Let's see. And let's go back over here to. Give me a minute.
Just stick here with me.
Just a moment. I want to make sure that.
So I'm going to dismiss you now. And my brother here, he has something to say to you. I think, brother, you better come up closer. My hearing is not as keen as it used to be when I was young like you. I could hear a long ways off.
To express my very sincere thanks. In Haiti, all these people
Go see Haiti. I used to read about it.
Minute here. Let me put some music on. Because I wanted you to hear this man asking a question, and the messenger answered it. Then I'm going to show you something here.
Winners, everyone must play fair. All you beginners know that you got to start somewhere. Whether you think or sinner, smile and share. Sunlight is well, let us shine on. While you learn that everyone cares, everyone out there has a cause to bear. And will never clear to never know how to win the storm rolling down the mountainside. We all count and we just think.
Yeah, I had the wrong one. Just a moment. It was the October 15th instead of the 24th. Give me a minute here. Let's see.
I have this job by the Lord of the world. And we're going to get together. We're going to make our place of habitation, as the Bible calls, look like men of course was born there. I'm not afraid. We don't want no slaves and mark shining behind us. Where we go along, we want civilization. And I am beginning to force myself to believe that let's make good of this spirit. Never decide to hinder you and make good both ways. Is it true what? Is it true that the devil has reached the moon? Why, certainly in physical ways, according to their report and their pictures of them on the moon. Spiritual teaching. And that he has equality. About the pyramid. Original man. Are there black men in among other beings on other planets? I didn't get the teachings of the knowledge of planet from him as he was trying to acquaint me and the movie survive. I can't see I'm too good up here. She said that he's using to destroy the wicked. You know, I like them. Dear Holy Apostle, since your teaching on the theology of time, approximately 10 weeks back, you said that in the destruction of America, there were two places of refuge. I was wondering if you could reveal those two places. You say I said that? Yes, sir. Since you have been teaching here, it was in the Muhammad speech on the theology of time. You mentioned there were two places of refuge. Well, if I did, that is true. I can prove you that is true. There is one. Number one with your Lord and my Lord.
The messenger said mathematics. And we mathematics, and God himself is unit number one. Unit number one. And as he said, number one. All the holy angels are the two places that you need to be saved. The Holy Scriptures and with the Son of Man. Those are the two places where you save them. Now, let's go further here.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Dear Holy Apostle, when you're teaching today, you indicated that we as black people should get rid of the names that the slave master has given to names of the devil will be destroyed. Sure.
This is my second visit here to the temple, and I desire and claim my own.
How would they know who's the right guy? They want to ask one question. After visiting this temple and listening carefully, like about the Great Northern Dream, I read where it was stated that it wasn't. So they made be. But we, Mr. I read sometimes that Master Farad was a drug addict. Is this true? I don't think you have found any drugs. Have you? Well, Tuesday is this that God brought him near to death.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I noticed that within the white press,
Come in his midst that he was able. You feel that all men have to die? Yes, and that's why we are here today. For death. The wicked man. There in Egypt, poured a little of that devil stuff in him. Under the rule of spoken to God himself, and how long have you knew ally? When I was born by the enemy, that you were going to come back to the temple and reveal where the promised land was. But he says he's been following Muhammad's speech, and he has not seen you reveal that, and he wanted to know if you intended to. That's the trick where you're in now. Remember that you have to inherit that is not heaven. Muhammad, I know, we just heard about, well, that is true. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. I would like to ask the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was the original black? Ever understand yourself, then to bring our meetings and questions to a close. It is time. Thank you. Thank you.
what puzzles me is, according to the Bible, it teaches that God is a spirit, and that was the main thing that
I read the book. Your teachings are how it came about was the teaching that I've heard. And the question was asked, where did the outcome where man originated came from? I don't quite understand. Or was he a white man? Who?
was.
Huh? What do you want to know?
We wanted to know if these events actually.
And Israel were signs of what with Israel is referring to us and our modern Pharaoh. He is where he is.
The secretary told him, he said the authenticity of a book. He had read a book that talked about the lost 10 books of the Bible, and the messenger said, he said, I don't know, brother. He didn't teach me that there was any loss. And so the Bible itself takes away that lie about some lost 10 books, because the Bible itself talks about the man who come in the volume of the book. And the Bible says, here is wisdom. Well, what did Solomon say? Get wisdom, for that is the principal thing. And with all thy getting, get understanding. So when the Bible says, here is wisdom, it is telling you where to look for the wisdom. Wisdom is instruction. That's what the Holy Scriptures are. They are supreme wisdom. They are supreme, superior instructions, and in righteousness. And so it says, here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Well, if in the volume of the Bible, in the volume of the book, the man comes, then the book is the Holy Bible, and it has 66 books in it. The Holy Quran came 600 years after the Bible. So the 600 represents the Quran, the 66 represents the Bible. And in the volume of those books, the mind that's in me was made complete. Do you understand? And so there couldn't have been no lost 10 books, otherwise it would have been 76 books. So no, there's only 66 of them. And in the volume of them, it's all written of me. And that's why I can make them all bear me witness. You see? And when people try to add something to it, the Bible makes it a lie because it already gave you the man's number. Do you understand? So all praise is due to Allah. So that man is standing here talking to you. That's me. And so the beast number is 6. He was given 6. Says 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the Sabbath day shall be a holy day unto the Lord. And in it, don't you do no work or you're going to be put out of your mind. And so all of them that you see being put out of their mind is those who refuse to straighten up in this day where I'm present. This generation not going to pass until everything in the book is fulfilled. If you think you're going to keep on going on doing your evil, this the end. And the beginning. Yeah, we look for a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwells righteousness. And that's what's going to happen. That's why the wicked are springing up like grass and the workers of iniquity, they just flourish. It's because Allah wanted to make sure he got them all at once. Go ye out first and gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn. They being burned up too. Them in bundles to burn them up. I didn't hear you. They being burned up too. At the tune of 2,500 a day and more, and rising. And rising. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go. I notice ain't nobody talking crazy to me no more. What happened? I tell you what happened. Judgment happened. So I'm going to let you go now. May Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds who believe in him, who trust in him, and who submit to him. May he grant us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise, and a peaceful and pleasant life. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.